broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Welcome into a special bonus episode of Secrets and Wives right here on AFTERBUZZ TV at AFTERBUZZTV.com. I'm Bobby DeMuro, joined as always by Alison Dean and April Whisenhant.
Hello there.
Well, you two of three, whatever. Like most of you guys are usually here. We have a bonus episode for a reason. We got a lot to talk about today, and we'll get into it. But we have two very special guests with us on the couch, what we call the hot seat, because we're about to heat things up in here. Gail Greenberg, Dr. Stephen Greenberg, join us tonight.
Thank you for coming.
They came all the way to LA to talk to us, and that's the story that I'm sticking to, and y'all can't tell me different.
100%.
Just for you guys.
There's nothing that's going to air on national TV tomorrow. Nothing. Forget all that
At
stuff.
7 p.m.?
It's us.
No, it's just us.
It's just us. So welcome first off to LA. You guys have been here for what, like 12, 24 hours
Pretty
or something?
much.
Well, like
Exactly.
8.
There you go. So this is perfect. Leaving tomorrow, or are you staying the rest of the week? What are you doing?
we're red-eyeing home tomorrow night.
There you go.
He has like a full schedule. Like he's not staying in LA unless he had
Back
like
to work.
only if he had an office out here.
I was just
He'd be
gonna say
like,
that.
yeah, I'm gonna do work.
That
at
has to be in the pipeline.
Maybe coming soon.
Bev Hills. There's like
There we go.
certainly a place for another good doctor.
I was going to say, there's no plastic surgery out here. There's a dearth of
definite need
for it.
There's
What
a
is
need,
plastic
absolutely.
surgery?
Got to bring the New York guy out here now.
Guys, we got a lot to talk about today with them. We're going to treat this kind of like an after show. Obviously, there's no Monday episode. The finale is tomorrow night. Super sad about that.
Oh, me too.
But we got a lot to talk about. Come on, Gail's here. We have a lot to talk about with Gail. So, as we do it, we are live streaming this. So if you want, you can comment on the YouTube live stream if you have any questions. We got a couple Twitter questions. You guys can tweet us too at Bobby DeMuro, at April Whisenhant, at the Alison Dean. You guys can
You're
tweet
so
us
good, Bobby.
right
That
was really
now. I hear your Twitter handles every week. I've memorized them at this point. You guys can tweet us right now if you have any questions about that. And before we get into it, one quick thing for you guys before we continue. Wanted to tell you about an exciting app that you guys can get on your phone. If you love magazines, quick, you two, what's your favorite magazine?
Cosmo.
Spit it out, of course.
That's a good one. Well, People's good. People's all encompassing.
Okay, I was going to go with Sports Illustrated, but sure. We have an exciting app for you guys. All the magazines you love in one app at one price with unlimited access. It is called Next Issue. You can get a free 30-day trial right now. Nextissue.com/ABTV. Cosmo, Sports Illustrated, People, doesn't matter the magazine, doesn't matter what they cover. Everything is there. You don't have to pick one. You get them all. You get videos, slideshows, web experiences, which is what they're calling them now. The latest issues, everything brand new, there right to your phone. Nextissue.com/ABTV.
So exciting.
After that, after your free 30 days, it is $10 a month. You can share it on up to 5 devices. So if you're one of these phone, iPad, laptop, like we all are, you can put it on all your devices. Do that. Again, free 30-day trial at nextissue.com/ABTV right now. Read up, way up on all your interests there. Nextissue.com/ABTV. Gail?
Hi.
What's your favorite
We got
magazine?
a lot to ask you.
Plastic surgery today.
Is that a real magazine?
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
It's a publication.
No?
Oh.
I'm sure it's on there.
But it's good. She's
will be now.
brainwashed very nicely. She's got it.
So who
I would not be
runs?
surprised though if that was a magazine actually. Like I can only imagine all the doctors that could like submit. Like here's my prized work this month.
If it's not, it will be now. We'll make it.
There's
I know,
a plastic
yeah,
surgery
that's not-
news, but that's close.
Yeah, there should be a
whatever.
magazine.
Whatever.
It should
One
be
track
glossy.
mind.
What can I come out with that?
Isn't it kind of like Us Weekly? Aren't those almost plastic surgery today in a way?
But they don't give enough credit
good
to the
point.
surgeon.
That's true.
So
That's true.
No, there's a market there.
Yeah.
Speaking of credit to the surgeon, I want to talk about first the practice, because the way it's portrayed, Dr. Greenberg, you're working all the time, which I don't doubt. Maybe I'm wrong to assume that, but I don't doubt that's true. And you're portrayed as kind of almost the hard ass trying to bring him back home. what's reality like? Because reality TV isn't
Okay.
real.
Pretty much close.
Less the hard ass.
Oh, I forgot about that part.
He works like crazy. He has 3 offices. He's a workaholic all over the place. He could be in the Hamptons. He could be back in Woodbury, Long Island. Then we shoot to the city. Then he's flying to LA to do your show. I mean, and then he's back, taking a red eye home and in surgery, 2 hours later.
We do a lot of stuff, but I like to bring Gail with me. So she'll come to office hours. She'll hang. She actually does these things that you see on the show. So it seems like she's a hard ass on the show trying to bring me home, but we actually do a lot of fun
I want
stuff
him
together.
to also enjoy his life and like take a moment and smell the roses and really partake, because here today, gone tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
our motto is he works hard and we play hard. So we
There you
take
go.
off, we travel,
Season 2.
we go on vacations.
Are you guys secretly like 23 years old? Because like
Don't I look at
We have
that?
a lot of
It's a little
energy.
old.
I'm wondering because I don't have the energy. I'm ready to go home and take a nap
It's
every day.
insane what he does, and I didn't sleep at all last night because we flew here. And he's like, "What do you mean? Let's go I mean, it's like it's 3 in the morning LA time.
Yeah.
People are sleeping now." He's
I was like, let's go. What?
Not at
always 3
Jerry's.
o'clock. We have the rest
6
of the night.
o'clock. He's like, get up, it's time to get up. I'm like,
She sleeps her life
everybody's
away.
sleeping in LA now. Why
What-
can't we sleep?
Well, here's a question. What part of LA are you staying in?
Where the peninsula is.
Beverly Hills.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, yeah, you could have found definitely 3 a.m., not too late at all.
Yeah, we could have gone out.
If you were in the valley shuts
I'm
down
not like
late,
John,
but like...
John
Yeah, well,
Donaldson. I mean, he would be out and, going strong.
That's true.
Yeah.
You should have seen him here last week. Yeah, 1 a.m. He was like, let's go. What are we doing? What are
You
we
should
doing?
have seen him with us Saturday night. We hung out with them.
but we
Was that-
bonded,
Was
right?
that
We
the picture
bonded.
at Gurney's?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Got it.
But we sat
do your
next to each
homework.
other, and we actually, he's a nice guy.
He's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
we loved
really
him.
nice guy.
We
So wait,
loved
you
him.
didn't know him that like?
No, we
that-
did. Well, I knew Susan for
Right.
many years.
Yes.
But we never knew them as a couple.
Couple.
I've seen him, but we never hung out with him or, went to
He's
parties
a funny
with him.
dude.
Right.
He's funny.
Hysterical.
He is...
But it's not an act.
No, it's him.
No,
This
yeah.
is what freaked us out on
it's him.
Saturday night. It was not an act. It was 100% real. Like, we had this huge table for like 20 of us, and he's like, no, I don't like this table. It's long, it's outside, it's hot, I'm not sitting on the end, I don't like this table. Like in the busiest restaurant in the Hamptons, and it's like, I'm out of here, everybody up.
We were
And
under-
like,
Oh
yeah, we
my
had to
God.
all like get a whole nother table. But I'm not saying he was wrong. The table did suck
Oh,
because it
no.
wasn't conducive to anybody speaking to each other.
Funny thing is, we're under one of those heat lamps, right? Because
Yeah.
it was cold
So
outside.
he's sweating.
He's like, I'm not under this furnace. Who sits under a furnace?
Susan, move away. I'm not sitting here.
Really funny guy.
He's hysterical.
Really
You
funny.
Get this guy, you give him 7-8 episodes on TV, and look what he turns into.
There we go.
Total diva.
You know,
He's
I
going to tweet me
appreciate-
for that.
It was hysterical, yet he wasn't wrong. The
Yeah.
table did
No,
suck.
yeah, that's what I mean. So
And
thank
he
God
made
for
it
him.
happen.
Yes.
But it was so fun. We were like, wait a minute. This is really...
real.
He's
So,
real.
Important question, though, with Jonathan and the table. Were his thumbs behaving themselves?
You know what? Liza was not near him.
There you go.
Oh my god, I just forgot about
There you
the
go.
thumb.
Forget about it. That was 4 episodes.
The thumb. Okay.
The thumb incident.
It's
Yeah.
Thumbgate, the scandal.
Yeah.
It just spawned a hashtag Thumbgate.
I like thumb in the butt better as the hashtag.
Yeah, me too. I think you can
That's
still
what
go
we came up with
longer.
the first
I think
night.
it's fine. I really do. Sorry.
Well, I'm glad we
Thumb in
went
the
from the medical practice to Thumbgate in about 30 seconds.
Well, that's
flat.
what we do
how it
on
happens.
reality TV.
That is, and
perfect.
we're specialized at doing that here at AfterBuzz. Back to the practice, though. So, Gail, I just let's ask it. Let's talk about it. Let's lead with this: the way you're portrayed on this show, because everybody's come in. Andi came in. Liza said it on the phone. We'll see her tomorrow night in person here. Even Jonathan and Susan. Susan was like, "Look, this is not the way that she is. The way she's being portrayed."
Oh my God, I know.
What is it like to watch yourself first, second, third episode and say, "Who the hell is this
I don't
person?"
know. I was scratching. I didn't know where to place myself because I'm watching and I'm like, I don't know who that girl is, but I don't like her. It's fucking me. Like, hated it. But, if there's we film so many hours and they can only put so much in. And I guess they're creating a storyline. So,
It's all what they show. I mean, if they
Right.
show a
Yeah.
million things, they pick these little couple of things.
I
It wasn't
think
her.
I begin to evolve when I'm in Fire Island with Liza Glenn, like episode 5.
That was my favorite, one of my favorite scenes for you, for sure.
And then I think I warmed up a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, It's funny, though, because the masses watch this on TV, and then a smaller chunk follows you on Twitter, and an even smaller chunk sees us on here. You know, a smaller chunk takes the time to get to know you, and so that first impression is everything. And we'd all like to think in our careers, hey, we hope that people get us for who we are, and it's different when you host because you can kind of be about yourself in a more long-term way. But when you're on television, you're completely at the mercy of the editors.
Absolutely.
Now,
and
do
it's
you see that as at the end of the season? Do you say, "Oh God, do I want to come back next year?" Or is it, "Hey, I have a guaranteed spot back because I'm part of the conflict"?
Nothing is guaranteed.
Yeah.
Right.
On any of this, so. I felt like I had to defend myself to so many people that I don't know. I'm not really that way. I'm really not insecure. I really trust my husband. I work in the practice. That's why everybody's, why do you need an office? You don't need an office. But I work there, and I put my bag down on the floor because I don't have the space, and it's 10,000 square feet.
Yeah.
You don't really need an office, though.
I like to have one.
Yeah, but you don't really need
Yes,
it.
I do.
She has to have a place to put her bag.
Yeah.
We all do. It's
You
always-
give her an office about the size of this studio, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Maybe a nice window out.
Gail's like, "Oh, just give up one of the operating rooms."
No, well, we
She'll
have
have
two
Chanel
ORs.
bags around
Two
it.
ORs that are size of airports. And then another procedure room. It's massive.
I kind of have to work there, though.
Are you the only doctor? Are you the only one who performs surgery there?
So I hired an associate last summer, but
Okay.
I do 99% of the surgeries.
Is that
tough.
part of it on plastic surgery? I don't know. Like when you have plastic surgery, do you want to go to Dr. Greenberg? You don't just want to go to his practice. They physically want to come to you.
Yeah, I mean, some people want to come to me, and some people just go over to my associate. But most people come from around the country, want to come over and see me.
So you have people going from Texas.
California.
Oh, all the time. All
Wow.
the California people are there because the doctors in California no, I'm just kidding. No, they're good. They're good. Now my Twitter's lighting up. People come from around the country.
I guess I never thought about it. I guess I just assumed that it was, it's local and this is the culture of that community, which it probably is a little bit. I never assumed that if you were in like Michigan, you'd say, "Hey, Dr. Greenberg, I'm flying in."
If
They
a doctor
do.
has a good enough reputation
Yeah.
like you do, then absolutely they're going to go
They do.
everywhere because
You
want
can't mess around with that. You'll be on
That's your
botched.
face. Yeah. Oh
We'll
my God.
switch shows. No, a lot of people come from
Love
around the
that
world
show.
too. Like
Oh,
we
they do.
have people coming from like London and
Wow.
all the time from around different countries.
I guess that makes sense. So if you go to an area and a doctor who's if you're in rural Texas
Right.
and you want to get this done, you're not going to go to El Paso, no offense, and get. I guess it makes sense. I never even thought about
You'll
it.
go there
Yeah.
for barbecue, though.
Yes.
Sure.
Absolutely.
You're not going to Albuquerque.
Not for a boob job.
You know what? On that note, though, you should definitely. Okay, so you didn't like how you were portrayed in the beginning, but even to all of us, so it's kind of funny saying like, "Oh, as a host, we can kind of mold ourselves." Our image of you has completely changed from the beginning too, because you, as a viewer, you can kind of start to tell like, "Oh no, they're just picking this because." Of this reason, of this drama that they want or whatever. And so it's definitely, I think you're evolving as a character because they're showing more of you. So
Right.
it really is like don't be too disheartened. They're showing better sides of you, I'd say. That you're more like the outgoing stuff, and that's what, Liza and Andi kept saying. They're like, she's this, bubbly, great person who's so sweet, so...
It was also, do you ever see the Brady Bunch when Cindy Brady gets on and she's on the game show and they're like, and 3, 2, 1, and the red light goes on, she goes,
Right.
I felt like that's what I was doing in the beginning. Like they'd be like, just act natural. I was like, and then I was like, okay, break it down.
Yeah. It takes a while though to go from like nothing to all of a sudden cameras are in your face all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the people who are just totally like completely okay with it. That's weird to me when I'm like, and even though I'm a host,
Yeah, right.
and I'm like, when people are just like, oh, I'm gonna have this on you all the time, and they're just normal. I think that's weird. So
Right.
you can tell it was a nervous thing.
Definitely get used to it. You forget the cameras are there, but yeah, you were afraid to death at the beginning.
Yeah, and it's also like filming with other people and the way they're acting on the camera, and you're like,
Is that
bullshit.
right?
Or like,
Tell us more.
no, I mean, nothing specific, just like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. And then you're
Yeah.
just like weirded out, and you're like,
Okay.
okay.
Did you find yourself either at the start or after a while playing a character, playing TV Gail, or did you always think, I'm just
No,
being
I
me?
was just like, I started to relax, and
Yeah.
I just played myself.
Yeah.
And I think more of it shows
Yeah.
towards episode 5 to the end.
Who was the most comfortable, you think, like of all the gals?
On camera?
Yeah.
I think that Liza and Cori were very comfortable.
I would say Cori for sure. I don't know why, just because I guess the way she speaks on camera in her interviews too, she seems like she was just like, okay, whatever, I'm good.
Yeah.
Andi was good too, though.
Yeah.
Andy's good.
And it's weird, like Andi and Amy. Amy's storylines are big, but you don't see as much of Amy. Andi and Amy kind of sit in the back. Susan and Liza are the focal point. Yeah. And then we have, Gail and Cori kind of coming out from the sides. You're like, oh, wait a minute, these are actually major storylines.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That if you went 2 episodes in, you were just going to be like, okay, it's a Susan and Liza show. Mm-hmm. And then things develop as the season goes on.
Liza's very comfortable in her own skin. So she was like, this is my life, and I'm just, showing you, and I could care less what anybody thinks. And it was amazing because it showed her confidence, and she was amazing on it. I thought she was unbelievable, and
not for nothing with Liza and with Jonathan, for that matter. Both of them had a scandal, I guess we'll say. Liza, the way her marriage ended was huge. I mean, I don't need to tell you guys that in that community. And then Jonathan with prison, and they're both kind of like, hey, this happened. I'm not going to lie about it.
Right.
You can't hide that and then go I wasn't in prison,
right?
And you're on a reality show in 5 seconds, that's blown up.
They roll with it. They're actually out there talking about it all the time.
It's great for them. Everyone's comfortable in their own skin.
And I think people relate to it. Yeah, even if you looked at Liza and said, oh, this is terrible XYZ, you got to give her credit for being honest.
Yeah,
what are you going to do?
I was kind of surprised at how, whenever we spoke with her on the phone, how open she was about everything. Because, marriage stuff, that's obviously huge. It's very personal. And she was really just, open, spoke about it. I mean, we didn't go in depth, obviously.
Well, when you're talking about the interview talent that exists here at AFTERBUZZ TV, bringing things out of people.
Right, tomorrow
I'm looking
night,
at Gail, and she's like, you're not getting anything out of me.
Don't even.
You have to get that out of her tomorrow night about her marriage and stuff.
Yeah. We will.
Who, Liza?
Yeah, she's going to be here.
We will. She'll be here. Pat and Glenn are going to be here with her, so I have a feeling between them.
Pat and Glenn will butter her up.
I love them so much.
Yeah.
And when they came onto the show, after the first couple of episodes, they're good friends of mine too. So it relaxed me. It made me I was so happy filming with them because they're just like my brothers.
How did you tell me about this process? Because no one's really talked about it. No one's really talked about it yet. I don't think they deny it. No one's really
the first to say that.
No one's talked about it yet. Susan told us about how she got cast very late. But the process from the very beginning, were you in the original group where they said, hey, let's do a TV show? What was that process like at the start? And the first year before we ever even saw you guys?
So it was a couple-year process before we actually came to make a sizzle reel.
Yeah.
And then from the sizzle to filming was a whole nother year.
Oh, wow.
Where they had focus groups weighing in on, there were a lot of different people that tried out in the sizzle, where they were, handpicked people from the sizzle.
Wow.
And according to the focus group results.
So was it friends of yours who just didn't make the 6? Was it your, that group of friends and they took 6 of 12?
A very, very close friend of mine is the one who pulled me on, you have to do this, it's going to be amazing, blah, blah. So I'm like, all right, what are we doing? She's like, just come with me. There's this agent in the city, we're just me, just come with me, whatever. So I'm like, okay, whatever, I'll just sit on the couch and, do your thing, and then we'll go shopping. And she, 2 seconds later, they're like, well, who's this? And she's like, oh, it's my friend Gail. They put the mic on, I'm in a room, and they're like, go. I'm like, go.
Go.
They're like, and you are? I'm like, Gail. And so it wasn't a Cindy Brady moment, obviously. I was really energetic, and they're like, okay. And then the next week, they're at the house, and they're interviewing us, and they're like, we have to have you guys on as a team, and we love you guys, and boom, boom. It kept rolling into the next. So we had to make a sizzle, and I was like, oh, no.
Not to cut you off, because I wanted to hear the next step, but this made me think, the identical story to this, I'm not sure if you're going to like it, is Snooki. This is how Snooki was discovered on Jersey Shore.
I don't know.
She went with a friend. She was like, whatever, let's go to the city. For her, it wasn't shopping. I think it was let's party afterwards. Right. Let's go partying afterwards. And they
shopping
were like,
is my party.
And they were like, friend, whatever, we want this girl. It's identical. Yeah. That's such a weird.
I never knew that.
Yeah, that's a weird thing.
Snooki's friend wasn't on the show?
I don't think so. No, I don't think it was Dean or anything.
Well, she backed out at the last minute.
Wow.
So she had to, and it was the right decision for her. But,
Season 2.
Interesting.
You never know.
I don't think.
Never.
But
Okay.
So there you go. Not to compare
Season
you with
never.
Snooki. We can shut the whole
great
Snooki Gail comparison.
comparison,
But I've heard that story from her a couple times. I'm like, wait a second, this is so crazy how identical it is. Maybe that's part of the reverse psychology for them, is the ones who really want to do it force it upon themselves, and the ones who come in and are like, whatever.
Yeah.
That's the actual person that they want to see.
There you go.
whatever.
Yeah,
I have a reservation, but speed it up.
So anyway, I didn't mean to cut you, but sizzle reel. What was the next process from there?
Well, from the sizzle reel, then they had the focus groups going over who they wanted, who they didn't, and it was just like a whole year from there.
Yeah.
Until they finally green-lighted it, which was probably 3 months before we filmed.
It's interesting to me that Bravo, I mean, for as different as these shows all are, Housewives, Secrets and Wives, Mother Funders, Married to Medicine, at its core, it's all the same thing.
It's all the
Yeah.
same,
All
and
the
there's a
same.
common theme.
Yeah.
Common formula.
You would think they would know the formula, so they wouldn't even need the focus group for this one. They just say, we want this type of person,
But you know
this
what?
type.
It's a brilliant formula, and it works.
Yeah.
Right.
With the interview, going back and forth, and what I'm thinking behind the scene, it works. You don't have to think when you watch these shows. It's like,
yeah,
No,
hey,
you don't.
No,
listen,
no
what is
thinking
she
involved.
thinking?
in our show.
ignore Bravo.
Sometimes you don't even need to watch. You can just listen. And you're like, I'm good.
You don't even have to have the volume.
No, yeah.
Whether it's Kardashians or Honey Boo Boo or Bravo, ignore this stuff at your own peril because it ain't going away.
No,
we were just talking
you're
about it off air. It's really cheap to make, but it's also really relatable. You know,
Yeah.
Right.
There's
Well,
a lot.
it's people.
There's a
Yeah,
lot of
it's
great
so
scripted
popular,
TV,
though.
but there's so much of this stuff and it's been here for so long. It kills me. These people who say, "Oh, reality TV, Bravo, whatever." It ain't going away.
No.
Right.
And they're watching.
They're watching.
And people
Yeah.
are like, oh, I never watched. They watch.
Exactly.
Going to the house and the show's on.
They're watching too. So the filming process for you guys, then you get to filming. You do, what was it, a full year of filming almost?
No, it was 10 weeks.
Okay. I
8
thought it was a long.
episodes, and it was 10
Gotcha.
weeks.
You
of
only filmed for 10 weeks? Oh.
It was like
every
I've
day.
only seen like one
Yeah.
season, so
It was
Oh, yeah, that's true.
end of mid-June
Makes sense.
through end of August last summer.
Gotcha. Okay. So what was it like when you started filming? Was there ever something that clicked for you? Maybe it was a point of just, I'm going to relax and be myself.
Yeah.
Was there anything that clicked that said, holy crap, I'm on a TV show?
No.
This isn't a joke.
Still
No.
hasn't.
Yeah.
That clicked on June 2nd when it aired. I was like, like, oh my God, that's me in the commercial. That's when it clicked for me.
Yeah.
Like, that was just like, whatever, we're just doing our natural everyday thing.
Any reservations for you, Dr. Greenberg, to say, you know what, maybe this isn't the right move for us as a family, as a couple?
Yeah, tons of reservations. But, if you look at the way I'm portrayed on purpose, it was a professional guy. Because the last thing I wanted to do for either one of us, and that's why we're portrayed the way we are, was to be this guy who's sitting drinking and throwing wine at someone, and then the
Right.
next day, my patients come in and say, well, this is what you did last night?
Right.
So, I'm a professional guy, and Gail is professional, with me. We work together, and we didn't want to be portrayed as these idiots out there.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I think that's why we came across the way we wanted to.
A little bit more buttoned up and reserved than we might really be, just of nerves.
And I look at the opposite as Jonathan, let's be honest. And Jonathan, the way he's portrayed, it works for him. That's his
Right.
personality, that's who he is, it's what he does.
Yeah.
He's a salesman. I mean, you're gregarious. A lot of people are going to be turned off by it. A lot of people are turned on.
Well, no one's going to
You
go
are.
to him the next.
Yes.
No one's going to go to him the next day and say, "Oh my God, I'm not buying that solar panel because you were drunk last night."
Yeah.
I mean,
But when you're cutting somebody open,
yeah, they don't
Yeah.
necessarily want to see you
Yeah.
hungover.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I'd be like, what?
Yeah.
What'd you do last night?
No.
Has it helped the practice? Have you noticed a bump so far of people saying, "Hey, I saw you on TV. I want to talk to you about procedures"?
Possibly. I do a lot of television and radio. That's just what I do. I'm on
Local, like New York stuff.
Local New York, I'm on many radio stations every day with my own radio show and do tons of TV. So it kind of all mixes together. So it's not unusual for someone to say to me, "Oh, I saw you on TV yesterday," because I may have been on Good Morning America the day before. But yeah, I guess more people.
Yeah.
I guess 1 or 2 people watch the show, and
I just gotta feel like with the demographic that watches Bravo, besides me, the demographic they're aiming for, I gotta believe that when the crossover for this sort of stuff has got to be, whew, this is a great opportunity.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
It is, and I have my skincare line, and so people buy that, and Gail and I are working, and you'll see on the show. Yeah, you saw on the show that we were working on new skincare products coming out. I don't know what's coming tomorrow versus what we saw. It's hard to remember.
Have you guys seen the finale yet? I know you get it a couple days in advance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Any little hints you
Well,
want to
we're on it for sure. We know that.
All we gotta do is wait 24
I can
hours.
tell you
but-
that it's by far the best episode. It's emotional.
Okay.
I think everybody's story has a culmination, and it really shows the beginning, middle, and end for every one of the girls.
Okay.
Where they're going, some positively in the end, some not so positive. Every story, though, has a beautiful ending, I think.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Speaking of the girls, couple Twitter questions that I got today. One of them is my favorite, but the other one from the Gail Greenberg fan club.
Oh.
Yeah, this is legit.
By the way.
That's her mom and her aunt.
No, it's not.
Just kidding.
She created a secret account. No, just kidding. From the Gail Greenberg fan club on Twitter, they want to know, of the girls, which of the Secrets and Wives girls were your best friend in high school or when you were younger? Who were you closest to off the show?
So
And
I
they have a
didn't go to
guess.
high school with any of the girls.
Okay.
I know them from when I was around that age, but I didn't go to the same high school as any of them.
Okay.
Who am I the closest with? I would say like my paths cross the most now with like Liza, Andi, Cori. Just I see them more on a regular basis than I do Amy and Susan. Maybe because we exercise in the same place and we go to the similar country club all the time. I love them all. You know what I mean? And like every week, it's a different story. But I would say those three I probably interact with the most.
They get the fan club guest Cori, for what it's worth.
Well, because
That's what I
I
would've
filmed a
guessed.
lot with Cori,
Yeah.
and they showed a lot of that.
Yeah. With that, the other girls coming in, we talked about Andi and what she said, and Susan. They talk about, well, Gail on show isn't the way that she's portrayed wrong. You watching it, besides yourself, of the other 5 women, did you look at any of them on TV and say, she got a bum deal, she got a bad rap? I mean, Amy, the way that Amy's relationship is portrayed, is that totally wrong?
Not so much.
Yeah.
Really not.
That's what Andi said too.
Unfortunately, which just breaks my heart. It's kind of the way it is. I think everybody was really themselves. I don't think anybody really got a bum deal.
Except for you, for a while.
Horrible.
Yeah.
She came out of her shell, though.
They can't do everything perfect, right?
Well, that's why you got to have a season 2, which we
Yeah.
still don't know about. Still going to know in a couple
Still
months.
don't know.
How much do you communicate with Bravo, with executives? Have you guys? Nobody's been on Watch What Happens Live yet.
No.
It's just absurd.
Or maybe
They don't
that
always
happened.
do that on a freshman show.
Yeah.
Right out of the gate.
Yeah, and in the summertime, I don't know what Andy's schedule's like, but I'm sure he's taking a lot
I
of
know
time
he
off in the
takes like
summer.
a pretty good
Listen, we can go to the Hamptons. We have a place in the Hamptons. We can meet him there. No big deal.
On location at Dick Doc. There you go.
He would have loved that.
There you go. Or I'll tell you what you should really do. You should let us run Watch What Happens Live when he's gone. Talk to him about
I
that.
say,
Yeah.
Hello.
Absolutely.
That's
Duh.
amazing.
Yeah. I'll take half his paycheck too, not the full thing.
So they haven't
You're so
approached you
giving.
to do a reunion show either,
Yeah.
like how they do with all the housewives. See, and that's
Do
funny
they
to me,
do that
too.
on first seasons, though?
Yeah, well, yeah.
They do?
Yeah.
But
It depends on the show. That the first couple Housewives, once they do the Housewives spin-offs, they do because they know what they're getting.
Right.
But the first couple Housewives, I don't think they
No,
did.
because OC was the first, and they did that wackadoodle reunion then. It was in the backyard
Really?
of one of the chicks' houses. Yeah.
oh, she's right.
Yeah, she knows her shit.
She knows the Housewives.
I feel like a reunion would be almost like not necessary
Well,
for the
I
show
mean,
because
you
they're
could like
friends.
talk about some of the storylines.
There's so many things that could happen on that reunion.
It's an excuse, April.
No, it is for, but it's also that's also the best transition for a season 2 though, is to be like, okay, this is how these stories ended,
Right.
whether they're good or bad, and to see if we want to know where they are now.
Right.
I'm just gonna say this, but I think it's poo-poo that Andy Cohen doesn't bring on first season people because that doesn't make
know.
sense. That's
Y'all
the
be
exact
amazing on that
time
show.
they need to be brought on because Andy needs to be like, and we're gonna play a game with our newbie over here. Like it needs to be that kind of a shtick.
I got another option. I've just been thinking about it. Stick around 24 more hours. We'll do a little reunion tomorrow.
We could do that.
Oh,
With-
no,
He's
we
only
can't.
I could stay.
She'll stay for a month. So to watch the
I
credit
know
card
where
bills.
Pat and Gwen are staying, so I'm sure they'd
So do I.
let you in the bed. It's fine.
There you
Liza's
go.
staying with them, so.
There you go.
Even better. You
It's
should
like-
Periscope all night. That would be the best thing ever.
It's like going back to college. You go on a road trip. You fit like 12 people in a hotel room. There you go.
Exactly.
Done.
That sounds fantastic. April and I are going to come later. That sounds
yeah.
really good. 100%. I like it. I like it. Bobby, maybe you can come too.
I
But
want to
Jonathan's not
know
there.
about the whole Susan stuff, like how that really was. I mean, obviously, in my opinion, I was like, I feel like they're kind of making something out of nothing. I don't mean you two, but I mean, I felt like it was a little more like focused on during the episodes than I would expect it to be, I guess. But what's kind of your take on how that all panned out?
I think they definitely blew it up a little bit. I'm really not a combative person. I'm not one that goes around fighting with other chicks. It's not my gig. I don't have time for it. So, she said that we took an exercise class all the time, and I was never friendly or said hello to her, which is so not the case because I always did. And we used to talk about jewelry, and she used to, I want to, sell you this and that. So I don't remember being stoic or standoffish to her ever, but apparently she might have thought that. So that was an interesting thing. So we had to have that discussion in Fire Island about that, and that was it. That was it. It was not such a big, huge deal.
We were waiting for the fist fight, though.
Yeah. I think she thought I thought that she was beneath me, wasn't good enough for me, but I never, did anything to let her think that. I mean, I would say the other castmates would never say that either.
Right.
So
the last person to have a fight with another girl would be Gail.
No, I'm always
totally would.
I'm sorry,
away.
Didn't mean it. Even I'm I don't care enough.
Different with me, but
well, because you deserve it.
With a girl, she takes all that energy from fighting with a girl and just directs it over to me.
I definitely do.
I'm thinking maybe I should produce reality TV because I'm thinking the personalities, not the people. But you talked about just a minute ago how you guys were conscious effort of how you were portrayed and how you were branded. And Susan and Jonathan, the opposite, they're like, this is what it is, whatever, who cares? And so you take the two opposite personalities between you and Susan and say, can we create a conflict from that? Doesn't matter if it's real, doesn't matter if it's true. Can we portray it that way on TV? Yeah.
But you both handled yourself so well during that conversation because we've seen in so many housewives shows, it just go for no reason. It goes
that would have
off
never
the handle.
happened from my point of view. I would have never thrown glass at her or
flipped a table, nothing. Like
or her, I think, because we saw her last week. She's a doll.
Yeah. Yes.
It's just when you guys, when you cast housewives, not to denigrate the housewives because it's fun as hell to watch them.
Yeah.
But when you
they're my
cast
favorite
them,
shows.
how can you not? But when you cast that stuff, those people don't know each other, and so the tension, I think,
it's
gets heightened.
Right.
When you've known each other for a couple decades, you're not going to flip a table
not only
because
that, but you can't avoid any of these girls.
Right.
Because they're in our lives. It's not like we live 20 miles away and we're not seeing them and we have a different lifestyle. We're just constantly, you can't even hide.
Yeah. So is Long Island as much of a small town as it's being portrayed to me? Because it sounds, coming from the South, it sounds pretty good.
It's like anything. It's like when you go to a huge university. You always click into this group of 40 people.
Everyone goes to the same country clubs, the same places, to Kitchen Cabaret to get their salads.
Kitchen Cabaret.
You're running into everyone constantly. You can't avoid it.
If Nicole were here today with us, she just spent 45 minutes talking to you guys about restaurants. That's what kills me about her.
I love it.
Because she went to Hofstra or whatever, so she's like, I know this place, I know that place.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a second, Long Island's huge. There's a lot of people.
Why we need to go, because then we need to be able to be like, oh yeah, we've been there. Oh, that's our place. Oh, I had the chicken sandwich. Okay.
Right.
Exactly. That's
You mean the iced coffee? We don't eat
coffee.
food.
Oh, no. Right. Smoothies. Gail does not eat food.
Smoothies. Coffee, black.
Dr. Greenberg, what was there a guys group? Did the husbands ever get together, the husbands and the boyfriends, I guess, ever get together and say, this shit's kind of crazy? Were you ever sitting behind the scenes looking at the women and going, okay, we just need to go drink some beer?
No, because don't you remember? He was in the scene when the other guys were out. He was sitting at the table.
That's something we talked
I
about
went
for
to the
so
girls'
long.
dinner.
That was a little screwed up, though.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Tell us about that.
It wasn't our fault.
It wasn't supposed to come out like that.
Okay.
When we got to Gurney's, I said, okay, you guys get ready. We were the last ones to arrive, and they said, okay, guys, get ready and meet at dinner. Okay. So we go, get ready, we come up, and we're about to sit down. Steven's like, well, where's Sandy and John? And Jonathan didn't come. Susan came straight from work. Susan works. Did you know that?
I had no idea, but
I didn't know if you knew that. I had to play the background.
Well,
Susan has a job.
Well, before that, when we got there, we walked up, and the old girl's like, what are you doing here? To me. Meanwhile, everyone knew I was coming.
Right.
Sandy and Andy's boyfriend, Adam, went out into town, into Montauk. So they were like, all right, come for dinner. We're like, okay, I guess the guys are going to show up at the dinner. So we sit down, and he's like, he looks at me, he's going, taking his mic off. He's like,
I'm out of here. I'm out.
I'm like, and then I go, no, just sit down. So
now we're fighting behind the scenes.
That part's on when I'm just like, so I look like I'm like, sit down. Don't go anywhere.
And I'm like, I'll go get a pizza. I operated all day. We drove for 2.5, 3 hours to get there. I was exhausted. I'd rather go to the room and have a pizza by myself.
Yeah. So he's sitting there weighing in. Like, he's not that kind of guy who, like, gets into, like, chick stories. He's like, I'm out of here. This is boring.
Right.
No, but if you look at me, I'm on my cell phone.
Yeah, and he kept just, like, looking over like, I hate you. And I'm like, don't leave me now.
Like texting my mother. Anything but
really
at that table.
I didn't really get involved in a lot of the conversation at the table because it was like Andi and Susan and Liza, that whole trilogy with you're in jail and how do you feel about it? Your husband's feeling craziness. And we were like, he was just like, oh, how's my practice? Like, we're now at a table talking about like all these ex-cons. He's like, move down a little bit.
Like, I'm out of here. So no, we didn't really have those male bonding things because anytime that we shot, they were shooting us together. Most of the time we stuck together.
Just like at the once a week there would be a party where we'd all be at.
Or the birthday party. Let's talk about that birthday party. Farm animals. What do you think?
I hate farm animals. I hate all animals. I don't hate all animals.
I love animals. I just don't like the way they smell.
And they're a little.
That's why I had that big shawl.
We're like the least
I remember
two people.
that. The Miss America.
We're the two people in the world that don't do well with farm animals. For whatever reason. Other animals, fine. Farm animals, not so good, right?
It's not my thing.
That's the kind of smell that's going to like stick on you for like 3 days. It's like being around a really heavy smoker.
You can't really eat around the smell.
Unless you take a bath with a Lush bath bomb, and then you're good.
I was trying to get Gail that night to take like a pony ride, and I couldn't get her.
She's like, nope.
There was no alcohol at the party. It smelled a little bit
dependent.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Right.
But was Jonathan drunk? Or did he bring alcohol?
It is his house.
Liza brought a flask.
Yeah. You're thinking at the party at Corey's house.
Gotcha.
That's when Jonathan was really drunk.
That was so good. She was like, I've got my flask.
All I know is y'all have a better social life than I do. Like, I'm trying to think back to all these parties. I'm like, how come I haven't been partying in months and they're partying every week and it's getting filmed?
It's something to aspire to, Bobby.
I know.
You aspire
Seriously.
for that.
That's, I think, a funny thing, though, and I know that... not to get too esoteric, Gail, but you look at your life, and you probably 10 years ago, 5 years ago, had no idea something like this was going to happen.
Or like 10 minutes ago.
Oh, yeah. or a week before you went into the city with your friend. And now it's like, oh, crap, I'm on TV, I'm being interviewed by people. And, we're not the biggest thing in the world, but just the fact of doing stuff like this, you wake up one day, and it's instantaneous. It's got to be a weird thing.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of roll with it.
Exactly.
We're not changing who we are. It's not about that.
On Long Island, so now that when you're like going out and people are seeing you now, because that community is that community, what's that response like? I mean, it's different. You're in LA,
I mean, you get
I guess.
a lot of even people here. Like,
they have been.
Someone was running after me at the mall. Gail, I just wanted to say I love your outfits. You have the best accessories. You dress the best. I love it. Everything you wear.
That's amazing.
I tune in to see what you're wearing.
You really do, though.
So
you
nice.
always look so good.
People definitely.
I think it's so. When people say things like that, it's so nice.
Goes a long way.
I mean, it does.
Yeah.
There's no question that people recognize us, especially if we're together, because we're like. Otherwise, you're like a little guy who's balding versus another blonde one.
Between like a hot supermodel.
Put us together, it's like almost everyone recognizes us.
Right.
Yeah.
It's adorable.
I love it. I love it. And then add Alison to the mix when I go shopping with Gail on Long Island for all of our aviators.
Shopping too.
And it's going to be like even crazier because then it's like Crazy Jufro Allison with Gail. It's going to be fantastic.
Do they have like cheap, crappy American beer on Long Island? Like if you go to one of these bars, one of these establishments that I'm sure these ladies would love, is there like just a good, crappy American beer?
We need Jonathan on the phone for this one.
Exactly. That's all I want. If there's something like that. Because I'm hearing you guys talk about shopping and clubbing and stuff, and I'm like, you know what?
We're going to find a place for you. You got to come and visit.
I'm going far on Beverly.
We get sports on TV or something. I'm. That's all I need.
All right.
That's it. Okay. Give me an office in your building.
With a keg in it. We'll put a keg in it.
Just give me a keg or a mini fridge. Boom.
And a keg.
You need to put a studio in your place, really, is what you need to do. You need to have
so
that.
you can do everything there.
I do. So I have, from one of my radio shows, which tapes on Wednesday for Saturday, they set up a studio every week. Because I can't leave to do it. So I kind of do that. And my other show is done in another studio.
But in the new place, there's not like a ready to go, like your studio? It should be next to Gail's office.
Yeah, it should be. Or maybe make her office
How about
into the
next to the
studio.
hair salon?
If she
should
had
put a little hair salon in his office too.
That one's take up that
A
much
dry
space.
bar. Let's get a dry bar.
We have a nail
You know,
person
people have
ready.
surgeries and they don't feel so great. And they get their hair done.
No,
We do
we-
want to do manicures.
And they're
Brought in this manicurist because I do a lot of injections of Botox and Juvederm and all that sort of stuff. So I decided to bring in a manicurist while people are numbing their face and they get their nails done.
Smart. So
Except
smart.
Gail's in there all day, like getting her hair and nails done.
Such bullshit.
No, I'm kidding.
Hey, you get. I'm thinking surgery's groggy, kind of coming out. You got a captive audience. There's a lot of stuff you could sell.
Yeah.
Probably
You want
very
this?
unethical, but hey.
My spa stays pretty busy with everyone.
How many people do you see a week? Like, I'm fascinated by the business. I would love a spin-off reality show of the business. I know they do botched and stuff like that,
Yeah.
but I mean actually the business of plastic surgery.
It's wild. Not only is it wild with the 30 women who work for me because they're crazy and they all have their own stories when they're not watching. But
They are.
they have their own stories going on, and they're insane. Who's fighting with who, and who's back with their ex-husband, and
man.
whatever. But the stories of plastic surgery are interesting. It's like the 16-year-old girl who needs a breast reduction because she can't play gym and she can't go out with boys, and the 40-year-old woman who's going through a divorce, who's unhappy with her body. They're all like interesting stories to like weave through. So yeah, the reality show's coming.
I hope. Really, honestly, that would be a fascinating show, I
Bobby,
think.
Absolutely.
Bobby's hosting the
Dr.
after show.
90210, right?
He's ready to go. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and we built a new office now that
Yeah.
you saw last week, which is wild. It's 10,000 square feet, so there's
my gosh.
plenty of room to roll
No, it looked like
around.
an
Wow.
estate. Like it was like we were.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's impressive.
Gail decorated most of it.
With help.
With one of our decorators, Gail, like,
I was like, yes, this,
her
not
touches are everywhere.
They have to
they
be. You
should
don't
be.
have time to decorate anything. They gotta be. Yeah.
You wouldn't want me to. Although you walk into my waiting room, and what is there? What's there?
A big pink.
A big pink couch. We'll tell you what we call it later. But it's
Is that an off-air
He-
conversation?
Couch.
it's a huge
It
pink
looks
couch.
like a whole
Oh.
flowering.
Does it?
Wait, have we seen this?
No.
Can you
No,
take a
okay.
photo
I haven't
and tweet
seen
it?
it. Yes. We'll tweet
Yes,
that.
we can. Yes, we can.
That would be amazing.
Picture's worth 1,000 words, or apparently just one keyword.
Hashtag for you, Bobby. So in terms of like, what's the most popular procedure that people have done now?
If you look at the country, and probably my practice is breasts.
Still boobs.
Boobs is big, lipo's big. You know what's really big over the last year is Brazilian butt lifts, making the butt bigger.
Yeah, what the heck is up
That's
with
like
that?
a
That's the Kim Kardashian.
sort of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I understand, but I'm also just okay.
50% of people make their butts bigger and 50% make it smaller. Seriously. It's like, who's going to come into the office? You never know until you look at them if they want it bigger or smaller. But yeah, people do that. We either put fat in or we take fat out. Either way.
There you go.
It's an in and outer.
in and out.
In and outer.
In and outer.
Something like that.
What's the
Like
percentage?
If
I
you're
guess.
Jewish, you take the fat out.
I guess last question about the practice, maybe because we got a couple minutes left. What's the percentage of people who do it purely cosmetic? I want to look better. I want to feel better about myself. Versus people who are doing it for a health issue, for a life issue. Like, this is uncomfortable. I need to change this.
All I do now is cosmetic stuff.
Okay.
So I don't do any reconstruction for like the last 15, 18 years.
Okay.
But, obviously a lot of plastic surgeons do reconstruction stuff, which is really important. It's just not what I do anymore.
So reconstruction is if you got in like a car accident or
Right.
that kind of stuff. Okay.
Totally. So
Yeah.
I just do, breasts and faces and tummy tucks and lipos and all
And
those sort of
butts.
things.
Yeah.
And butts. And
It's a good,
noses.
lucrative place to be in, I assume.
Yeah.
It's worked out pretty well.
Opening up the third office, not bad.
Semi still kind of on the practice though. So we were talking about this earlier, the blazer situation and uniform.
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
Okay,
I got so much flack that I was giving the girls blazers to cover them up because I'm so insecure and jealous.
well, I mean, okay, so it's going to be a peplum blazer,
It
right?
was- yes, and
So
you're gonna see.
that's a fitted blazer with
Right,
a
we
fit
don't know,
and flare
guys
thing.
Which is
don't know what
adorable.
peplums
I-
are. There's no peplums in guys' vocabulary.
How do the girls feel about it?
You're gonna see that tomorrow,
Okay.
but
Spoiler.
some like maybe and some don't.
There you go.
That
How
was
are
very
your
controversial.
interactions with everyone, with all the girls? Because I know, if you're there working at, basically you're like, another employee,
Yeah.
kind of.
Not really.
That's the wrong word, but you know what I mean. Like you
Without
are,
the paycheck.
Right.
Does that count?
You're not on the salary, but you
No.
work there.
She
Yes.
comes and goes as she pleases.
I
though.
work there.
Yeah.
I'll tell you,
It's
in
work.
front, she is really good with the girls. They love her. I don't know what they say behind her back when she leaves, but
Bullshit.
in general,
They love me.
They do
I'm their
love
older
her.
sister.
they come to her. Like if I'm like really mean to them or do something, I do one thing out of line. All of a sudden, she calls me.
Yeah.
Like,
What did you do?
Like I'm like, how do you know
He'll
this?
tell
It
him
happened.
I'm quitting. I'm quitting.
Right. It happened 30 seconds ago, and she's calling me.
I'm like, you
knock
better
it off.
apologize
Knock it off.
right now.
That's what you do in every job and every line of work. If
You
your
need
boss
to have
is
the
giving you trouble,
therapist there too.
yeah.
But if
I'm also that role.
if the boss is giving you trouble, you go to your boss's boss.
Yeah.
There you go.
Exactly.
It's true.
Exactly.
And she straightens me out.
That is true.
I'm not dumb. I know who runs the show there.
Hey, no one's ever done, Bobby.
Okay, so last thing, and I know this is, I want to give a couple minutes to this. Final messages and final thoughts from you guys. I mean, we talked about how you're portrayed, what you're looking forward to. Is there anything that maybe hasn't come across in the show yet that you want people to know, that you're dying to say, listen, know this about me, know this about us as a group?
Well, I want people to know that I do work in the office. I don't know, some people miss that. I don't know how, but they missed it. Like, why does she need an office? Well, I work there. And
Who cares if you didn't, though, Gail? If you were like, I want an office, I'd be like,
It's not
yes.
your office.
I have to account for everything.
Well, because people think she's jealous of the girls in the office, which is totally not the case at
Right.
all. She's like
Hello.
so
We're very
cool with them.
secure. We have a great relationship. We're best friends. We love to do everything together. And so some people look and they're envious, and so they want to create a story about that. Or it's just like him sitting at dinner at Gurney's. It wasn't. I was insecure. I needed him with me. It was.
Right.
It made it look very awkward, but it really wasn't how it really is.
Assuming a season 2, I hope we get a season 2. We're not going to know for a couple months. Are you going to take any lessons forward and say, well, I'm going to worry about being portrayed like this, or do you just say, screw it, I'm going to be myself,
You
and
know
they can
what?
do what they
Screw
want?
it. I'm going to be myself.
Good. I'm
Yeah.
glad
I
you're that way.
found it worked better.
Yes.
And it was
100%.
easier. I'm a little cerebral, so before I would say something, I would tend to think about repercussions possibly first, and that put me on a delay, literally. Like,
Well, I think we realized.
what do you think about the weather? It's good.
I think we both learned and realized that if you can say what's on your mind without coming off as a jerk.
Right.
And that's what we wound up
It's a
doing.
learning
towards the end.
experience, like everything.
Yeah.
And they can still edit you like a jerk anyway.
Yeah,
So it's
absolutely.
Yes, they can.
Right?
Yeah.
And no matter what, people are always gonna, they're gonna have their thing that they want to say. But that's why things like this are great, and even like social media, because, a situation like the dinner, we had no idea, but it's actually a totally easy explanation.
Yes.
So that's the thing that's good about these shows, is no matter what, it's just always better to be yourself, because
Agreed.
you're always gonna have someone who's like, well, why'd you do this?
Ugh,
When
yes,
it's
no.
nothing.
Exactly.
So speaking of social media, after you answer this, I want you to give your Twitter handles for folks at home so they can tweet you, because we're going to do the same thing. But what's the weirdest or maybe most goofy mean tweet you've gotten so far from somebody watching the show? Do you remember somebody who tweeted you something and you were like, what the hell?
Well, a million people were tweeting me, why would I need an office,
Yeah.
in my husband's surgery center just to, spy and stuff. That, that's overwhelming, constantly answering that, but I, did. So, that was the majority of the stuff that I got.
You guys are great. Y'all are great on Twitter. Every one of you guys are great.
Yeah.
And I know you got to be. You're a new show. It's 2015. You got to play the game. But you guys are really, really good at that
Very
stuff.
responsive.
And it matters. Trust me. I see it all the time. I see terrible, terrible celebrities on Twitter. Both, A-list and they don't need to be good, and D-list and they got to be good and they're not.
Right.
It matters.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so as we wrap up, you are at Gail Greenberg with a Y.
Yes.
Gailly
Yep.
Greenberg.
Gail Greenberg.
There you go.
Wait, what's mine?
Is
Mine's
he
like-
on Twitter?
Yes, I'm
Dr.
on
Stephen Greenberg.
There you go.
He doesn't even know his own name.
He's great at it.
Yeah, good. As I'm in the operator now.
All right, ladies, where can folks tweet you to?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at April Whisenhant.
You can find me everywhere at the Alison Dean.
Is there another
I'm going to
Alison
change
Dean?
mine to the Gail Greenberg.
Oh, I like that.
You can.
Mine's too long
as long
for
as it's
that.
not taken. Yes, because I couldn't have Alison Dean, so someone has it. I didn't investigate too deep into it. I know that there's I think a professor with the name. I think there's maybe a politician with the name.
But you didn't investigate this at all.
On Twitter, I don't know who has it though. Here, let's look. while Bobby does his.
I am on Twitter at Bobby DeMuro. Scheduling obviously tomorrow night, Tuesday night. We are going to have the season finale here, right here in this studio. On that couch are going to be Liza, Pat, and Glenn.
Yay,
you two, thank you guys very much for coming out. They're going to be on Extra tomorrow night. So check your local listings on Extra. They're going to be there, so you can watch those two on Extra, Secrets and Wives, and then our after show.
It's a whole night.
Sounds like a pretty damn good Tuesday to me.
Big Secrets Wives night.
It's gonna be fun.
Thank you two again very much. It's really great.
you.
We will see you guys in 24 hours. Remember, hit subscribe on YouTube and iTunes. Follow AfterBuzz on every social media channel at AfterBuzz TV. See you guys in 24 hours.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.